Double Feature presents Bad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast. On this episode, we bring you Season 3, Episode 12, Half Measures, written by Sam Catlin and Peter Gould, and directed by Adam Bernstein. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the penultimate episode for this season of Bad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast, and Breaking Bad. I'm here with the main man, Colin, as always. Colin, what's happening, baby?
Hey, what's up, dude? I'm here. I'm ready to talk about some Breaking Bad, dude. This is a big fat, juicy episode.
It's a juicy one, man. This is a juicy steak of an episode, man. I love it.
This is that Bruce Willis in City, the big fat steak she picked up at the butcher's. Like
Beefy, man.
Yes,
beefy.
Yeah.
Grass-fed, not grain-fed. Just fuck that.
All natural.
Yep. A big Wagyu. Pricey.
Yeah, was that a Japanese steak?
Japanese. Also Australian. There's an Australian cut of it too. I think I'm pretty sure.
Nice. Various Australian and foreign international meats 10 seconds into the pod. I like it.
I love it. This, I don't know why people listen to us.
Yeah. You just start a food podcast.
Right, exactly. Well, actually, no. I'm better at eating than I am talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's just us on the mic going, like eating.
we trigger everyone.
It'd be
everyone
the
gets
worst.
Triggered.
The worst podcast ever.
Yeah, Family Guy, when he's doing the radio and he's like, "Welcome back to Book Talk." And he's like, "Let me get that biscuit over here."
Oh God, it's so irritating.
Anyway, guys, we're sorry for that false start. Let's talk about half measures, right? So, a big episode, as I mentioned, second last episode of this season, and as we talked about in the last episode, we are gearing up for this kind of like 2-act finale. In the last episode, Abiquiu acted as sort of like a primer for these 2 episodes. You know, it was kind of the calm before the storm. We met some pretty key characters, such as Andrea, such as Tomas, who kind of meets his demise in this episode.
Yeah.
But also, we see more of Jesse's sort of love for children coming through, I guess. Like he's kind of like he's a big softie, right? He's a child himself.
Yeah,
exactly. And that plays out in a pretty big bad way here in this episode. Colin, what did you think about what did you think about episode 12, Half Measures? Talk to me.
I think this was actually quite possibly like a top 3, top 5. Honestly, it's an incredibly tense episode. It's done extremely well. It's rare that I feel like something really has me on the edge of my seat, like biting my nails, and you can see my fucking like my quicks, you know, they're just gnawing them down. I really, really loved it. I thought it was a fantastic episode of the show. I think it's probably one of the best television episodes I've seen like recently in a very long time, probably since like Pine Barrens or something. I feel like this is the Pine Barrens so far of this is the Pine Barrens so far of Breaking Bad. They just do.
You're referring to, of course, The Sopranos, just in case no one knows. Because
right. Sorry, my TV has turned on and my goddamn thing is playing in the background. I'm sorry. So you'll hear a little Breaking Bad. Sorry about that.
Sopranos has a great episode called Pine Barrens. To anyone who's listening, in that episode, Chris Moltisanti and Paulie have to go hunt down a Russian who's kind of escaped from the boot of their car. And this turns out this Russian is very, very proficient in weapons handling and armed combat and hand-to-hand combat. And
cocksucker was an interior decorator. That's one of my favorite. But this feels like the Pine Barrens so far to me. Like this is a great episode. Like you really see a lot of like sides of characters that you like everybody is evolving now. It's no longer like I feel like Jesse can only be this sweet kind character for so long. He needs to act on it. Gus can only be this violent shadow over the two of them for so long. He has to act on it. And now we see kind of like the anger of Gus, and we're starting to see more of a human side of all the characters. And I really like that. I really, really do.
Definitely. I kind of want to, like you already mentioned, this episode acts as sort of like a transformation for Jesse, right? Like he is kind of like this sweet, sort of like doe-eyed, innocent kind of kid who got caught up in this, and here he is making a positive choice to go out and kill these two guys. And I think it sort of mirrors a lot of what Walt had going on in this season, in terms of just like, at the start of this season, Walt, after Jane's death, he kind of had no part in, like, he was just like, I'm done with cooking, whatever. And it was Jesse who asked him to come back into it, right? He's like, let's go back to cooking. And Walt's like, no, I don't want anything to do with it. And throughout the season, I think Walt's been somewhat subdued. Like the Heisenberg has been subdued. It wasn't, that you don't get much Heisenberg this season. You get more of Walt trying to be Walt. But there's all these other factors that keep pulling him back in, like the twins' attack on Hank and things like that. And then it's not until we get that final shot in this episode that pan up to Heisenberg, and he says "run" to Jesse, and it's that classic shot that you get in a lot of movies, from below, where it makes them look powerful. I just think like there's a lot of like transformation happening in this season in particular. And I think this episode is where a lot of it sort of crystallizes for these two characters in particular. Interestingly, Aaron Paul won an Emmy for this episode.
Yeah, he's selling the shit out of this stuff, and I'm fucking buying. He's selling a lot of his scenes with Walt, and just incredible. Like, I knew Jesse was crossing a line that we were no longer going to come back from. And I was like, no, you don't stare down international meth kingpin and go no, and like not end up becoming a different person for it. It's a big deal.
That scene in particular, we'll talk about it. The one at the chicken farm, when he's forced to make nice with these two guys, and then Jesse kind of turns and looks at Walt, and it's like, you fucking betrayed me,
right?
Like, there's this look in his face of just like, you betrayed me. There's no going back now.
Which we can debate that. We'll debate that at the end.
We'll chat about it.
Yeah, we'll chat about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you're basically telling me I'm wrong. Yeah, cut that.
Yeah, cut that.
Oh, you've been listening to the It's Always Sunny episode? It's Always Sunny podcast?
Yeah. I not a lot of them. I'm a little bummed they don't talk about like the episodes a lot, but then they've started to pick that up though, where they'll actually watch the episode on the episode.
Sure.
And then kind of talk about it. But my favorite is underage drinking a national concern, and I feel like that they were just kind of like, that episode's okay.
First season, right?
Yes, it is a incredible comedic episode of television. I love it. It's like a small movie. It's so good. But yeah, I've been listening to it. It's really good.
It's a great podcast. I love the interplay between all three of them. My favorite, by the way, if you are a It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia sort of like watcher or listener, in this podcast, it's a video podcast like Joe Rogan's podcast is on Spotify,
right?
So you can like watch the video as you're listening to it, and there's a whole couple of episodes where Glenn Howerton can't make it, so they get his sex doll.
Yeah, he's like filming a movie or something. He's sick or something.
He's filming a movie about the BlackBerry, the rise and fall of the BlackBerry.
Yeah, I saw him because he had the haircut that I famously have. Yeah.
All right, let's get to this. Let's get to half measures. Enough about comedy, Colin. We're not here for comedy today.
Yeah, we're here for meth and child death. Right,
exactly. Well, actually, we're here for prostitution first, because we're here at the Crystal Palace with Wendy. Right?
The scope is the best part of this episode. I was like, oh god,
dude. She's going on about her business. It's this montage. This song, everyone knows it's Wendy.
Because she blows.
Right, exactly. And remember that time when Hank rolled up with Walt Jr. and he's like, "How much you charge for a Wendy, Wendy?"
Yeah.
Look, she's she's a hard worker. You can't deny that she's got a solid work ethic, right?
Yeah. Hey, nothing wrong with sex work, I mean,
No.
prefer it in a legal standing so she's not, put under duress or you forced to do something she didn't want to do. But at the same time, hey, if you're working for yourself, go get it, man. Do whatever you want to do.
Sure. We are sex positive here.
World's oldest profession.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely. Well, that and, lawyering, unfortunately.
Yeah. That and executioner, fucking and dying. That's what we're good at.
I love it. That's humanity. Wendy goes to cop some meth from our pals here, and Jesse's watching intently, right? We see him thinking to himself, and it seems like he's got a plan. And then we cut to the title card. We've got the scene with Junior driving Walt. He wants to use Walt's car for the driving test. Junior asks about his feet, and looks like he's using both feet again. This annoys Walt, but Junior says, we need a note. We can get a note from the doctor. Once I get my provisional, I can keep working at it. And Walt relents, saying that as long as it gets you safely from point A to point B, who am I to argue? What do you think about this? Like him kind of like giving up pretty easily for Walt?
Yeah, again, I think that probably plays back into that subdued kind of thing that Walt has had going on, where he's trying to. There was just so much heat after Hank shooting, that things really needed to die to kind of die down, and they do to an extent. I mean, obviously, he's still cooking meth, but at the same time, we're not having. Tuco gets killed, or we're not blowing up a building with fake meth, or, we're not catching an RV on fire in the middle of the desert, like shit like that. Like it felt like this season has felt like a much needed calm, but at the same time, it's just kind of like that part in the song, like the doom, 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 doom,
right.
doom, and it's this build up that now is kind of hitting this. Hank's going home, and Skyler's getting more involved with the money laundering, and Jesse's kind of starting to have these like moral problems with what they're doing. Like this episode honestly reminds me of like a Stephen King novel, of like the character choices. No, dude, okay. It honestly 100% does. Like it really does feel like when you read the novels, like the choices and stuff that the characters make. Like this episode is so heavily based on character, and I love that. I think that's great. I think that's when stories are at their peak, is when we go by, like, we love these characters, we know these characters now, so it really kind of makes perfect sense to me for this episode to be kind of based on them. Kind of, it's the lines in the painting are now becoming more defined, and like the picture is really starting to come together on everybody.
Absolutely. Speaking of King, Steph and I watched Mr.
Hardigan's cell phone or something.
Harrigan's phone. Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah, I didn't hear the short story is cool as shit. It's creepy and it's great, but I didn't even bother. I don't know, man. With King, it's like you either get a masterpiece or you get shit.
Dude,
there's so
I was
much
just
shit.
Like, this could have been an email. Like, yeah, come on.
It's like you might get a Stand By Me, Green Mile, or Shawshank, but it's like most of the time you're gonna get like. Yeah, that, or like just some oh my god, just stuff from the 90s, like all the mini
Firestarter remake. Yeah,
yeah. It Chapter 2, that was a disaster.
Oof. All right. Meanwhile, Skyler, the hardened and experienced criminal that she is looking up money laundering on Wikipedia.
This is fucking god damn it! Like the fact that she's worried about stuff being traced back to her. Bitch, you don't even have a VPN. What are you doing, man? Like, good God.
Yeah. That's a weird move, that one. I don't know what you're thinking there, Skyler. Skyler wants to speak to Walt alone. Asks whether he's reconsidered about the car wash. There are flaws in the plan, not singular. Walt is adamant that this is too much. He wants Skyler to maintain plausible deniability, but this doesn't fly with her. So you're promoting here. Sorry. Walt says, so you're promoting caution here, and you want a believable story. And, of course, this is getting Walt's mind spinning, right? Why would your estranged husband be doing all of this for you? Maybe if he were sleeping back in his own bed?
Smooth.
Yeah, smooth. He's trying to get back into the old, his house that he's paying for. So
yeah, the old white manor.
Mm-hmm. the big house, as they used to say.
The big house.
The big house. Yeah, dude, like this poor bastard is literally haggling how many nights a week he has dinner with his family.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, man.
You know what? It kind of goes to the point that I was making earlier of like just how subdued he is now. Like, just how much of like the Walt in this season is a Walt who, like you said, because of Hank's shooting, the Walt needed to take over the Heisenberg. There is no Heisenberg at this point, at the moment. And, you see Walt haggling over this like bullshit. And then, you see Walt being driven out to the car wash. You get Saul telling like Walt what he needs to be doing. Like there is very little active Walt in this season, I think. Like, I think he's, I'm not saying that he's super passive, but he's kind of being pulled around quite a bit in this season, and I think that's by design until the end of this episode, at least.
No, yeah, I think you're exactly right. Walt this season is a character who lets things happen to him. He's not a character who makes things happen,
right?
But that's I feel like that is also by design,
right?
It kind
of we're
makes
trying to distinguish between Walt and Heisenberg,
right? And in the Infinity War comic, like Adam Warlock and Silver Surfer sit outside while they fight Thanos, and he's like, "No, it's not time yet. It's not time." And it's like, when is it time? And eventually, it's time. And when it happens, you're like, "Yes!" Like, oh my god, yeah. I love what they did with Walt this season. They definitely blue balled you, but the shot
they play the long
amazing.
game. They play the long con for sure. Walt says, "I'm going to be a part of this family, and that is how we're going to sell your little fiction." So back at the lab, Jesse asks if Walt wants to grab some beer. Walt looks perplexed and turns him down, but Jesse insists, looking up at the camera, he wants to talk under the radar. At this diner, Jesse passes over a bag of Crystal Blue. Walt confirms that it's theirs, and Jesse says, "I bought it from the two guys who killed Combo. They had Combo shot down in the street, and now it's our product they're selling." Jesse tells Walt about Andrea's brother, who was only 11 years old. He is at this point only 11 years old. He's obviously gets capped at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
They use kids because they're easy to control and easy to fool. Now, I mean, like, who does this remind you of, right? I mean, this is Walt with Jesse, right? I mean, they're easy to fool, they're easy to manipulate, like Jesse was very early on in this show. What do you think about this kind of like mirroring?
Honestly, I didn't even think about it until you just said something about it. Because it's like when you think about it, Jesse is what is he, 18, 19 when the show starts?
Sure, I'd say somewhere around there, ballpark. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you think about it, he's 7 or 8 years older than Tomas. That's not that much older. Well, I mean, that sounds really creepy taken out of context. But, in this instance of like Walter being the predator, is kind of, he's not that far mentally removed from Tomas. Like you look at Tomas and it's like, yeah, he rides a cool bike. He's got cool shoes. This would be Jesse if Jesse were an 11-year-old kid, So I think that the parallels there are really interesting because even I did not really pick up on him because I'm still kind of looking at, I feel like almost at this point you could just call him Heisenberg and just stop calling him Walt.
But it's interesting because you don't have the full picture, right? Whether there is a manipulation of Jesse going on, you haven't seen the entire show. I'm not confirming that there is or isn't, but I think up until this point, Walt has certainly lied to Jesse for his own means, right? I mean, like the Jane thing in particular.
Right. For sure, yeah. And I think that, there's something interesting going on with Walt that is like, why is Jesse still in the picture? And even Mike says that at one point. The fuck, why is this kid still here? And I don't know if it's just out of guilt or if it's just out of some... I don't know what it is. Maybe there is some kind of explanation for that later on. But even this episode kind of had me questioning, why does he have Jesse around? And now with them bringing out these kind of parallels, it's like, it makes it even more kind of like disturbing that he's still got this guy around. He's just hooking the tendril further.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Jesse says something that I think, Colin, you live your life by, which he says, "Get them young and they're yours forever."
Right.
Can you explain that? Can you explain this a little?
What, you want me to explain this?
No, I was just making a joke. This is your credo.
Sorry. For like half a second, I was like, Is he fucking serious? You didn't
Hey,
understand?
I'm Chris Hansen.
Yeah, yeah. Get your hooks. Yeah, yo. That's well, I think that was next to the names and the contacts in Epstein's book. You know, Bill Gates, Trump,
right? Ghislaine. Yeah. Yep.
Martin Van Nostrand.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
That's from Seinfeld.
This is obviously weighing on Jesse pretty heavily, and he asks for Walt's help. Right? He just straight up says that I need the ricin.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think that the ricin was going to come back into play?
I didn't even remember it. You know, we haven't. It's so long ago.
It's been a long time.
It has. But when he said ricin, and then he was like, you said it would. And I think the show does a great job of sprinkling the knowledge dust over your head just enough to get you to go like, oh yeah, okay,
yeah,
and you said it would work on Tuco, and it's like, okay, you're not like,
sure.
The plan we had to kill Tuco. It's not like this, like that. They
remember how we wrapped it up in the tortillas?
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Yeah, they just nudged that ball just enough to get it rolling for you again.
For sure. Walt straight up says no. Jesse's already got the delivery method figured out. All he needs is the poison, and he says the delivery method is Wendy. She brings him hamburgers, so he can just roll it up in the hamburgers and feed them to him. And Jesse talks about how Wendy stood up to Hank. He questioned her for 5 hours and didn't crack. Right? Walt underestimates Wendy. Like, he says, she's you're going to trust a meth addict. It's typical Walt shit. And then Jesse plays the card, right? It was fine when it was your plan, right?
Right. Which, I mean, I agree and disagree with. Practically, of course it'll work. It's a good plan. It doesn't mean you should do it. Like there's a lot of like ramifications for that.
Sure, like you said, I mean, Jesse's like wrestling with the moral ethics of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Walt's not giving in. Jesse implores Walt to listen. Combo was us, and then Walt just straight up, it's so shit. I hate this line, but it's Walt, right? He says, "Murder is not part of your 12-step program. This is not some amends you need to make."
Right. Yeah. Well, and it feels very weak. It's just clutching at straws, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that everybody, you and me and Walt and Jesse, like we all know that this goes beyond a 12-step program.
Yeah, definitely. Walt says it accomplishes nothing. Jesse gets up to leave, but before he does, he says, "I'm doing it with or without you." We get a look in on Hank. Right, the hospital room. They're playing cards, so it's Marie and Junior, and Hank is miserable. Right? Have you been playing cards with your dad? Asked Marie.
Yeah.
Again, Hank doesn't want to leave. Right? I'm shitting in pans. I'm peeing in pitchers. And Junior talks about people in crutches being in hospital, trying to guilt trip him. Right?
I loved this.
This is great.
I think I even said this on an episode, or if I didn't, I definitely had this thought of like, I would love for Junior to be like, "Hey, can I get a moment alone with Hank?" And then just be like, "Come on, man, you got to get up." Like, and hearing it from this kid who's done it his whole fucking life, I feel like I didn't think that a handy was going to be the thing to spearhead Hank into getting out of the hospital, but like, okay, whatever, I'll take it. Dean North, friend of the show. But I really
opened this season of the podcast.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Thank you, Dean. No, I really, really, really loved that interaction between Flynn and Dean North.
You're still going with Flynn. I'm still calling him Junior. Fuck it.
Yeah,
I'm not dealing with Flynn.
That was brief. That was very brief.
Yeah.
Nobody really calls him Flynn anymore.
So Walt is at Saul's office while Saul plays solitaire, right? I'm hourly, right? They're waiting for Jesse, and then Saul says, "Okay, what's plan B?" And Walt really thinks Jesse will do it, right? It's about getting him off the streets, and he actually suggests getting Jesse arrested, right? I'm not talking about one of those situations where you're in an orange. I'm talking about one of those situations where you're in an orange jumpsuit picking up garbage along the highway.
Yeah, jail.
Yeah, and Saul says that's jail. Now, I don't want to ruin any part of Better Call Saul, but Saul very much knows about.
Oh, this
being
is a
in the
man
orange
I
jumpsuit.
assumed had been arrested or spent time for like
Oh,
petty
yeah.
offenses in jail.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Solace definitely knows, like, you know,
Specifically picking up garbage along the highway.
yeah. Saul knows how to roll those fingertips across that thing.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. Oh, I mean, how do you think he met his clientele?
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's like, somebody needs to be in here representing
Sure.
these fine folk,
Yep.
you know?
Absolutely. Saul says he'll call his investigator, which we know is Mike. Meanwhile, Jesse meets with Wendy, and it's clear that he's told her about his plan, right? He says, keep quiet, and this will never come back to you. He found this stuff on the internet. Jesse, okay, now look, let's talk about this, because Jesse is, to convince Wendy to actually do this, he brings her son into it, right?
Right.
These guys use kids like that. They got to go. Now we're seeing the sort of like warping of Jesse a little bit, the manipulation of Jesse upon
Right.
Wendy.
Right.
What do you think
yeah.
about this?
Well, you know, obviously it's fucking awful, but I love it. You know, like watching this train wreck, because A, it's a Walt move, but then B, at the same time, like, I love what Walt says after the meeting, and he's like, you know, your consequences have actions for other people. And obviously that comes back to haunt him big time with Tomas, but also this woman. You know, they could find out she was in on it and murder her just as well as they would murder you. You know, and then you would leave another, you know,
Right.
orphan kid, you know, out there.
You can't use people as tools, right?
Right, yeah, and that's kind of you can definitely tell, like, what he's doing is, I mean, technically it's smart. You know, it's a smart idea to just put it on their food and put it in there, but literally it's a Walt idea. It is literally a Walt idea, and it's kind of like seeing him try and make that kind of play. It just doesn't fit the character, you know. Like I knew that deep in my gut, I knew this was not going to happen. I was like, no, that something will intervene, or Jesse will fuck it up somehow. They're not going to eat those burgers. And the second their car didn't show up, I was like, I fucking knew it, man.
Yeah, I think one of the big attractors for this entire show is to, you know, Vince Gilligan talks about how specifically he said he wants to take Mr. Chips and turn him into Scarface.
Right.
But he never talked about how he wanted to take this sort of like doe-eyed babe in the woods kind of like deer that is Jesse and turn him into someone who might potentially be morally corrupt and closer to Walt's level of thinking, you know? And I think that's a really fascinating idea that really, really plays out in this show. And we're seeing a lot of it here, is Walt rubbing off on Jesse.
Yeah, I feel like there's a real Dutch Vanderlyn, Arthur Morgan thing going on.
Oh, I like
you
that.
know, I feel like, you know, Dutch is the guy who,
and there is a plan.
Yeah, there is a plan.
He's got a plan.
Like Walt always has, you know, he's always tinkering away, you know, he's always, but he actually does have a plan, you know, like he actually always has got something going on. But I feel like Jesse just is going to hit this point of, you know, if he's already having trouble with this kind of side of things, then eventually he's going to get a point where he's just like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this anymore. You know, giving the Downs family back their money, you know, after Thomas Downs died, like that's going to be a you know, that kind of moment for Jesse. I feel like is coming with that moment of redemption, you know.
Yep. I love the dark music here, right? It's really foreboding. The lighting here in this motel room is pretty cool as well. That amber lighting, it's so seedy. It looks like piss, you know?
Yeah, it's very, very gross.
Jesse leaves after telling Wendy that he'll be in touch with her tomorrow, and he leaves her with 2 big bags of crystal blue.
Whew, it's a lot of money.
And then we get Mike showing up to Walt's house in what I think might be the standout scene in the entire season. Might be.
Mike going to Walt's?
Yeah. So Mike shows up to at Walt's house. Skyler's out. He says, I got a granddaughter a few years older, right? He says after seeing Holly. He looks genuinely happy, by the way. Like another person who loves kids in this show. And Mike says he's not going to do Walt's plan because it's moronic, right? He says the boss wouldn't like it. And of course, this is where we find out, where Walt finds out, and it's confirmed to Walt that Mike's boss is not Saul, it's Gus, right? My boss, your boss. And then Mike tells Walt that it's been a long time coming. And then he's like, what do you mean? Right? He says, the boy's been on the bubble for a long time. And then we get into this story. Now, we're going to do something a little different for this show. I'm going to play this clip because I think, man, I think Jonathan, what's his name? Jonathan Banks is absolutely incredible here. Like, I can't not let this go. So
yeah, he nails it.
For sure. So settle in. It's a story. And here we go.
I used to be a beat cop a long time ago. And I get called out on domestic disputes all the time, hundreds probably over the years. But there was this one guy, this one piece of shit that I will never forget. Gordy. He looked like Bo Svensson. You remember him? Walking tall, you don't remember? No. Anyway. Big boy. 270, 280. But his wife, or whatever she was, lady, was real small. Like a bird. Wrists like little branches. Anyway, my partner and I get called out there every weekend.
God, I love the way he's
And one of us would pull her
away.
aside and we'd say, come on, tonight's the night we press charges. And this wasn't one of those deep down, he really loves me setups. We got a lot of those, but not this. This girl was scared. She wasn't going to cross him, no way, no how. Nothing we could do but pass her off to the EMTs, put him in a car, drive him downtown, throw him in a drunk tank. He sleeps it off. Next morning, out he goes. Back home. Now, one night, my partner's out sick, and it's just me. And the call comes in, and it's the usual crap. Broke her nose in the shower kind of thing. So I cuff him, put him in the car, and away we go. Only that night...
Jesus.
Fuck.
We're driving into town.
I love how, it's so crazy.
And
that
this
he's
sideways
nonchalant about
asshole
it
is in
because
my
it's
back
so
seat humming
normal to him.
Danny Boy.
Yeah, just flip it.
And it just rubbed me wrong. So instead of left, I go right out into nowhere. And I kneel him down, and I put my revolver in his mouth. And I told him, this is it. This is how it ends. And he's crying, going to the bathroom all over himself, swearing to God he's going to leave her alone, screaming, much as you can with a gun in your mouth. And I told him to be quiet.
He's so good, man. Jonathan Banks.
But I need to think about what I was going to do here. And of course he got quiet. Goes still. And real quiet. Like a dog waiting for dinner scraps. And we just stood there for a while.
I
Me
love
acting
that
like I'm
line.
thinking
I love that
things
line
over.
so much.
And Prince Charming kneeling in the dirt with shit in his pants. And after a few minutes, I took the gun out of his mouth. And I say, so help me, if you ever touch her again, I will such and such and such and such and blah, 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 blah. Just a warning.
Love that.
Of course. Just trying to do the right thing. But 2 weeks later, he killed her. Of course.
I love how much time we dedicate to this in the show.
Caved her head in with the base of a wearing blender. We got there was so much blood you could taste the metal.
Damn.
The moral of the story is...
Jesus.
You could taste the metal.
I chose a half measure. When I should have gone all the way. I'll never make that mistake again. No more half measures, Walter.
Fuck yeah, man.
Jesus. I love the fact that he permanently sounds like, and this is your second Sin City reference, like Benicio del Toro when he's the corpse talking to Clive. He's like, they're going to pull you over.
Yeah.
And he just permanently has that kind of talk. I love his
Yeah.
voice.
it's his delivery as well, and it's his voice for sure. There's
If
something
something
about it.
happens to Steve Downes from Halo, I would be fine with him being Master Chief. Like if he were just like a little bit more like straight, like a little less relaxed.
To give the Covenant back their bomb.
So, anyways, I punched the button and give the Covenant back their bomb. Like he's got a great sing-songy kind of talk.
Yeah, man, Jonathan Banks. I talked about him in that first episode of season 3. This season. Oh God, it's been so long.
Yeah,
when he shows up to Jesse's apartment, and he deals with Jane's body, and I'm just like, yeah, this character is a game changer in this show, and he absolutely is. This is such a great monologue that he's given here, but like also, he's talking about regrets. Right, like he's talking about, I should have done what was necessary, but I let it go on for too long, and right. I just didn't. Now I have regrets.
It's like a wart. As soon as you see it, man, the root's going to take hold.
I want to highlight this here, and let's just put a pin in this for the moment. I think this is kind of it's in contrast to what Mike is. This speech, if you watch the show in its entirety, if you watch Better Call Saul in its entirety as well, Mike is constantly kind of making half measures. And I wonder if it's because of a lesson he learns later on in the show, or if it's because of a lesson he learns from Walt or something. I don't know, but you do see him making half measures quite a bit. He would rather take a different approach, or just go about something his own way rather than someone else's way, which is almost always to the extreme. So I know this doesn't make sense to you at the moment,
right?
But I just kind of wanted to put a pin in that at the moment and just kind of like bring that up in case anyone's listening who has seen the entire show.
Okay, cool, gotcha. I'll try to remember that.
But yeah, an outstanding scene. I think one of my favorite scenes in this entire scene.
Absolutely. I mean, the whole show. I mean, the whole series. It's probably the best monologue. He absolutely crushes it. And to see to get more you're getting information about all the characters. Like, oh fuck, Mike was a beat cop.
Right.
And like learning little, like, oh, of course, that makes total sense. Is where he picked up a lot of these guys are ex-military, ex police force,
law enforcement.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So even getting that little bit of information was really cool. And the funny thing is him coming in and talking about the kid and being like, oh, I got a granddaughter, blah, blah. Like, I think that even though he has to go and pick Jesse up later on and he has to bring him in, I think that Mike secretly is like, I got to say, I agree with the kid. Like, you shouldn't be fucking with kids like that. I feel like Mike deep down kind of agrees with Jesse on that kind of thing. Just knowing he was a beat cop and that he tried to scare this guy off of this lady just to do the right thing. Like I feel like I got a lot out of Mike in that scene. It really fleshed him out.
Yes. Really, really colors like who you think Mike becomes. But like Mike, yes, absolutely. I can tell you, there's no confirmation of it, but I can tell you that, yeah, Mike absolutely thinks that Jesse's in the right. Like, these guys need to go. But Mike is a man with sort of like a code, right. Like like, this is not
his
the way
decision.
that we deal with this. Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Right. Jesse and Wendy are scoping out the spot. The guys haven't shown up yet, and Jesse's kind of freaking out. Wendy's nervous, asks if the poison is fast, and then she asks for a bump. And then Mike rolls up. He dismisses Wendy and gets Jesse to come with him. And they've driven out to this chicken farm where Gus holds his usual meetings. As Jesse approaches the door, he noticed Walt's car already parked outside. Jesse nervously sits down at this table, and Gus begins speaking. And who's here at this table?
Walt Whitman.
Walt Whitman and the two guys from the spot, right?
Right.
Yeah. Gus says, "Oh, yeah, I hear you've had an issue with my employees," and it's like, oh, okay.
Oh, Jesus.
Gus says, "There's blame on both sides. This will go no further. It will be settled right here, right now." And at this point, Jesse's staring daggers at Walt, right? Who looks like, by the way, Walt is just sitting there who looks like he's been caught masturbating by his parents.
Right.
Like, he looks so awkward.
Yeah. This feels like a parent meeting with a kid, and like the parent just has to let the principal kind of give it to the kid and be like,
Right.
"You're a terrible student." But I also feel like these are two parents whose two kids got into a fight. Even though one of them is totally unprovoked, or these guys basically, it's not like they started a fight with Jesse. Jesse straight up just tried to kill him. So there's obviously like this kind of like, it's the drug dealer's version of like getting into a fistful. Yeah, there was a little scrap. It's like, yeah, he tried to poison two guys. We need to sit down and have a talk about this.
For sure. Gus tells Jesse that Walt is his only friend. If it weren't for him, he'd be dealing with this in a different way. Now, Gus makes it very, very clear that Jesse is incredibly expendable to him if it weren't for Walt, right? And Gus is terrifying, man. Giancarlo Esposito, we've sung his praises already, but he's terrifying here. Don't look at him, you will look at me. Right? He orders Jesse to shake their hands, and that'll be the end. And man, oh man, is this one of my favorite scenes ever in the show. Jesse straight up says no.
Yeah.
What really kind of like punctuates this moment of Jesse saying no to Gus is Mike's reaction. The look of surprise from Mike.
Yeah.
This is someone who's never looked surprised, and yet he's surprised that someone stood up to Gus. It's brilliant, man. It's so good. Such a great cut to Mike there.
Right. Yeah. And part of me is just like, obviously, I don't know. I feel like Jesse just doesn't know who he's fucking with. Like I think that he thinks like the extent of it, but I don't know. I think he's really underestimating who Gus is and what can be done to him. Like it's not just you have to worry about. It's this girl you've been banging. It's her son. It's your friends, Badger and Skinny Pete. Like, if you reacted this poorly over Combo getting killed, imagine what happens when we, send two guys to rape your mom and kill your mom and dad. Like, holy shit. That's a whole tall order. I feel like he's kind of like underestimating him. Like, obviously standing up for the right thing, but I don't know. It's this kind of like, it's this young man anger. Every hill is the hill I'm going to die on, versus like, I feel like Walt is the kind of lose the battle, win the war kind of thing. I feel like Walt would shake hands, say, yeah, okay, fine. And then find some other way to do this outside of Gus's like view, like, I feel like it would be less like, Jesse is just running head for, he is the guy like, hey, don't push that squad, man. And he fucking, Freebird starts playing, and he pushes him like, he's just so headstrong, even I agree with what he's doing. But I'm like, I agree with what he's doing, but even I don't agree with how reckless he is in doing it,
It's certainly interesting to watch both of these characters, Walt and Jesse, kind of conduct dispute resolution in their own ways, given their own like history and experiences. I think you're right. I think, yes, Jesse is underestimating Gus. Why do I keep saying misunderestimating?
I don't
know. But I think another factor is just to really, really highlight how much Jesse is against the use of children in this trade.
Right.
He's very like, it's unacceptable to Jesse.
Absolutely. And I think that, I mean, to Walt and Mike, to most people in that room, it's unacceptable. I don't think that that's something that they have like the control over on the ground level. I doubt Gus is out there watching these deals go down and really with his ear to the street. He's got other people for that. But
I kind of want to talk about that for a second, because at no point, and I'm not saying that, Walt is pro using kids, but but at no point does he say to Jesse, well, it's terrible that he's using Tomas. Right. It's terrible that they're using kids. Like he never, we've already identified that there's this thing in Walt where he can't sympathize with people like on a legitimate level, right? So maybe it's that, but it's also, like at no point does he say, it is terrible that they are using kids. Like Walt is very much a means to an end kind of person,
right? He's very logical,
right? So I'm not saying that he is 100% okay with using kids, but I can see him being like, they're a means to an end. Fuck it.
Right. Yeah. You don't want, I don't know. I could see Walt looking at it and being like, oh, kids, it's actually kind of genius, and it's like,
Right.
oh, come on,
Yes.
dude. Like, no.
Yes. Gus tells his guys no more children and tells Jesse to keep the peace. But to Jesse, this is a half measure, right?
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that Gus double backs on that and actually backs down? Or do we even really double? Is he saying yes, and then as a sign of like he orders a hit on this kid to be like?
I think it's just easier. I don't think he orders the hit.
No, you don't think so?
Well, actually,
I mean, either that or the two guys did it of their own accord, just because of like, oh, you were gonna kill us? Well, then fuck you.
Yeah. I do think the guys did it on their own accord. I think the guys feel very wronged. Especially if they are in this gang, right? Because you've got the gang affiliation, and then you've got Gus's affiliation, right? So,
right.
I think the gang element of it is taking over.
But
the execution.
Would they be? Sorry to interrupt you. Would they be stupid enough to do that? Even though Gus just said to your face, "Do not go near kids again," and then you kill a fucking kid, and I could see. I don't know, because
the kid knows their operation, right? Like, to them, the kid is like, okay, he's seen everything. Yeah, he's a liability. He's seen everything that we do. He's seen how we do things.
I still feel like that would be a Gus call, though. I feel
maybe. You know what? It's never explicitly. I can't remember if it's explicitly said or not.
I feel like if Gus sat there and told you, do not fucking touch this kid, go near kids, and then you murder a kid right after that, you're signing your own death warrant. He's going to come and kill you, for killing this kid. So I don't know if Gus just is kind of like
I kind of wonder if someone listening to this is like shouting into their fucking speaker, and they're like, "You find out next episode, you idiots!"
Oh, that's fucking funny.
I think it might be me forgetting. I can't remember if it's confirmed or not.
But, by the way, I haven't seen anything past this episode. This is kind of the quirky little fun thing about the show. I take it one episode at a time, so I've seen it 5 fucking times.
I've seen it about 3 or 4 times. I can't remember every single little detail because the show's very intricate. But
yeah, I don't know. I feel like this could be something from Gus that maybe not Gus ordered specifically, but was tolerant of, like, I don't know. I feel a couple different ways about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think one of the reasons he backs down is because he wants to keep the peace. He's very, very adamant that he wants to keep the peace.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, obviously more deaths bring police attention, and that's not what he's about, right?
This is your manager. Like, 2 cashiers get into a fight, at the register, like arguing at each other, and it's like, listen, I got enough shit going on running this fucking place. I don't need petty squabbles like going on,
right? And I'm just in the background, just trying to use a coupon, right?
Right? Yeah. Hey, I got a Groupon here.
Yes, yes. One of my favorite things ever is your impression of God, what's this guy's name? The guy from who's the guy that plays Buffalo Bill again?
Oh, Ted Levine. Oh, yeah.
Ted Levine, but specifically in Fast and Furious, because he plays like the police captain or whatever.
Oh yeah, he does. Forgot about that.
And they're hiding out in like this house, and there was a moment when you were like, what does this guy's like pizza order look like? Hey, can I get a sausage? And
yeah.
So,
anybody want extra anchovies? No, you're not putting on fucking pineapple.
It's so good, dude.
I love Ted Levine, and he's Bosco in Heat. Like, hell yeah.
Oh yeah. By the way, Heat 2, really fucking good.
Okay, cool, dude. I got
really
Audible. I'll take a crack at that.
Really good. And especially because you already know the characters, so you've already got a visual in your head.
Right, yeah. You know what's so funny is you got that book, and then for Christmas it was like a Fright Night prequel, the 1985 Chris Sarandon one, but it's written by the writer and director of Fright Night. He also wrote and directed Child's Play, and his name's Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I remember this from In Search of Darkness. Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like a cool guy in those things. Anyways,
I remember being like weirded out. I was like, Tom Holland? What?
yeah, right. I guess that helps when people search. He's they probably hit him, and he's like, keep me relevant.
And the guy from White Lotus season 2 and Pirates of the Caribbean is Tom Hollander.
Oh wow, such a commonly weird last name.
Right. And what I put on my salad is hollandaise.
Hollandaise. I'm more of a chili aioli guy myself. No, sorry.
Oh, yes, dude, drown me in aioli.
Yeah, I love it.
Jesse and Walt share a very awkward ride back to civilization.
Yeah. This is great. Like the fact that he leaps out of the car before it even stops.
Dude, he gets out of there so quick. But Walt talks about Jesse's actions and how they affect other people. Like he said, sometimes compromises need to be made for the best of reasons, said Walt. We get Marie and Hank. She's wiping him down, giving him a sponge bath. Right? He hates this so much, and Marie tries to joke with him, but he's not having any of it. And she gives him a hand job. Right? I'm just saying.
He goes to completion.
Oh, you know what? I think we're gonna need to throw out the sheets. I know that.
Yeah, we throw a flag on the field, and we're like, all right, can I get an instant replay over here? I would love if it became like a Leslie Nielsen, like Airplane, Zucker Brothers. Like she's under the sheet, and it looks like she's like cocking a shotgun. Now it's just like Hank has this like huge fucking boner.
From Naked Gun, one of my favorite jokes is nice beaver, and it's an actual beaver.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just think of Airplane, Leslie Nielsen coming into the cockpit and like last fucking 4 times, and he's like, I just want to wish you both good luck. We're all counting on you.
Yeah. One of the best lines in cinema, man.
All right, here we go. So, I'm just saying, and Hank says nothing's going to happen, and turns out Marie's a fucking freak, right? She doesn't care if someone comes in.
Right, yeah. She didn't even spit on that hand. She's going in dry.
No, she did. This is just straight up dry. Yeah. If the groundhog can see his shadow, he has to leave.
Jesus Christ.
The point is, you're not completely hopeless, right? I guess the meaning of this scene,
right?
Which is what Marie says. You're not completely hopeless, and they agree on the bet. You got 1 minute, says Hank. Dude, the hard cut to Hank being wheeled out of there in his face.
Yeah, it's absolutely stellar, man. That's like I don't know, that's like an Edgar Wright hard cut,
It's brilliant. We're about to get another hard cut. A little bit more of a tragic one. Because Jesse and Andrea lie in bed. Andrea receives a phone call. It's her grandma, and Andrea just completely bursts into tears, right? Cut to Tomas's bike on the ground, cops everywhere, forensics are taking photos, and a white sheet over a little body.
And, that's crazy.
Andrea's obviously beside herself, and Jesse just can't comprehend what's happening, right?
Yeah, this was definitely one of the things that I did not know was going to happen in any shape, form, or fashion. So
perfect.
I didn't have any idea that Tomas was gonna die. And it really, it was effective, because like you kind of see like just 6-7 years ago, this would have been Jesse, if he'd have grown up in this kind of environment.
Sure.
And I think that, I don't know, there's something about Jesse where I feel like he is like, I squandered all the chances I got, and I'm trying to do something right by maybe helping out people that didn't have the opportunities that he did, because he grew up pretty, privileged lifestyle, but it's absolutely like gut wrenching, because it's,
sure.
You kind of get this whole, again, like we just lost Jane, last season?
Yes, end of last season.
Last season. So just last season we had end of last season, almost like right on time. A season later we have this kind of big death, and then Hank is almost killed, and I feel like even though we just met this kid, it definitely had that kind of impact that they were going for. It definitely hit hard.
Absolutely, man. I'm sure I've talked on either this podcast or on my double feature about the but-for test, which is a kind of like a legal thing. So whenever like someone's trying to figure out causation or like if someone is liable for something and whether the accident or whatever, like who caused it, they do something called the but-for test. So this would not have happened but for this, and this. Okay. And if you apply this to Jesse, Tomas's death would not have happened but for Jesse's actions earlier at the chicken house or chicken coop, whatever the fuck.
Right.
And it's kind of tragic to have that weigh on you, you know?
No, for sure. Yeah, it definitely feels like the, you thought you were doing the right thing. Like, I can remember, I don't know, probably like 10 years ago, there was a woman I worked with who showed up to work with like a black eye. And I was
black
like,
guy?
No, a black, goddamn it, a black eye. And, I basically was like, hey, do you need to come and, kind of crash at my place for a little while, and she was, nothing like romantic at all. Just like, hey, you need like a place to be kind of safe.
Battered woman. Yeah.
Right. So she came and stayed for like a weekend and stuff. And I remember talking to my brother, Adam, about it. And he was like, I think that's a great idea, but you got to be careful because like I remember him talking about a time that there was a woman who was getting, beat up by a boyfriend in a parking lot in a Walmart, and him and his friend jumped in and beat the shit out of this guy, and they were like, yeah, but when she got home, there's that guy, there's ramifications from that. He probably beat the shit out of her even more, for getting him beat up. That's going to be his mentality.
It's unforeseen, like, consequences.
Right. And even though logically you would say like you wouldn't think that would happen, and I certainly didn't. When it was like, yeah, they killed Tomas, it's like, what the fuck? I thought Gus just said like, no, like you're not to do this. Like that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I feel like Gus has a hand in this because I feel like this is to specifically say not to do this and then turn around and do it. Even Jesse is not quite that stupid.
The next morning, Walt calls Jesse, who's very late for a cook. I'm starting without you. And later that night, they're watching Jeopardy, right? One of the prompts is interesting. A loud, harsh cry. Walt Whitman's was barbaric. Which is very interesting considering that, like nothing in this show happens on accident, right? By accident. And if you think back to earlier in this season when Gail gives Walt the poetry book by Walt Whitman, I can't remember the name of the book, but that was also by Walt Whitman. And here we have this Jeopardy prompt. Well, I don't know what the connection is, but it's interesting.
They said 3 letters. I was like, oh, run. That's what he says at the end. I was like, oh, it's 4 letters. Yell, like yelp, whatever.
Yelp or something. Walt tries Jesse again, but no answer. He's getting nervous. He leaves a voicemail saying that he's not going to apologize for telling Gus. They're going to have to just agree to disagree. And as Walt goes to turn the TV off, there's a news report on Tomas's murder, right? And dude, Bryan Cranston's face is amazing, yeah, as he's just like, he's piecing this all together. As they have dinner, Walt phases out and he just leaves suddenly. Dude, he didn't even come up with an excuse. He's just like, I'm sorry, I have to go.
Right. But Walt always thinking 2 steps ahead. He knows what Jesse's probably going to do.
And unfortunately, Jesse's fallen off the wagon, right? Because we cut to him snorting coke off a CD.
Coke? I think that's meth.
Oh, is it? You reckon?
I think so, because I think it's the blue shit. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. It might be. I took these notes at 2 a.m. last night. So.
Well, and I'm kind of curious if this is a completely falling off the wagon or if this is a quick, like, all right, I just need this to get through this and then I'm done. Don't tell me. But I'm kind of curious. Yeah, I didn't know because sometimes it's like, oh, this doesn't really spoil anything, but but I am kind of curious if this is like
it's tough having all the answers and especially recording how we record, which is like we do a couple episodes, take a 5-month break, and then record another couple episodes. And I'm just like, oh shit, I can't remember what's been revealed or not.
Yeah, you're like, I'm Peggy Carter, and you're Steve Rogers, and you have to keep all the future secrets like from me and shit.
For sure.
Oh, it's September 10th. Yeah, let's get out of it. That's the worst part about that whole Steve Rogers arc. It's the fact that it's like 9/11, like Columbine, like he just kind of has to have all that shit happen. Like, ugh, that's
Yeah, can you? I mean, as Steve Rogers, you wake up in 2012 after being buried in the ice and being told that there was an event that killed 3,000 people in one go and school shooters are a thing. Like,
right. He's like, I was too busy fighting space lizards and stuff. It's like, oh, thanks, man.
Right. I was too busy watching my fucking movies without sound, right?
Yeah, right. I was too busy watching the moving pictures.
Right. Jesse's dressed all in black, and we just know he's about to do something rash. He spots the car with the two guys, grabs his gun, and heads over. He looks incredibly determined. Dude, I love the way this is all shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
From Jesse's perspective, we see the two guys get out of the car, but they're out of focus, so we just see like two sort of blurs coming closer and closer. They pull out their weapons. It's all happening in slow motion. The music's building up. It's amazing. It's an incredible sequence. And then Walt comes flying in with his Azteca, getting a double collateral, baby.
Jesus, it's he gets the splatter medal. You know,
he gets this when you're flying with a ghost, and you just
yeah.
I try to put it in terms that you would understand.
No, yeah, that's exactly what it's from. Hey, that's it's a splatter medal. Yeah, I love doing that and splattering people.
Double kill. So he rushes over to the one still alive and executes him point blank.
Gee, I audibly was like, God, yes. Like, I was like, that's fucking, let's fucking go.
It's fucking
man.
gnarly, man. It's fucking gnarly.
Because I feel like that's the first time Walt has, like, that's not in any self-defense. Like, that guy's dead. Like, you could kick that gun away from him and just leave him to die. But Walt's like, no half measures anymore, you know?
This is what I wanted to talk about. So this double sort of kill here, it is the first sort of like positive murder, I guess, that Walt commits. You know, that doesn't really have a defensive kind of like tinge to it. And that is interesting because, like I said, Walt has been very subdued this season, and this is the moment where I think we are like, okay, Heisenberg's back, baby. Here he is.
Right. And there is like a pinch of defense from like the Jesse side of things. You know, obviously these guys are going to fucking mow him down. And I feel like there is a thing of like Jesse is just pushed and pushed and pushed until it's just ultimately Walt will kill these guys over Jesse. For what reason, I'm not 100% sure, but that's just kind of how Walt is at this stage. And I think it's kind of interesting just seeing to the lengths that Walt will go for Jesse, and just why do you go to such crazy lengths?
Right. The motivation is an interesting question. Like, why is he doing this for Jesse? Why chalk up two bodies on him for Jesse? And you kind of wonder whether it's because the other, I think the least likely version is that he likes Jesse, but the more likely version is that he's trying to protect his income, right?
Well, yeah, but I feel like, they could take Jesse out and Walt could probably cook all that stuff by. He was like, I'm going to start without you, and it's like, if he can cook by himself, he can net the whole 3 million, or was it 6 million or something? I don't know. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting and a really big turning point for the character. And really surprising. I wasn't really expecting that. I was definitely on the edge of my seat when that happened. What did we say we were going to debate about at the beginning of this episode? I should have wrote that down.
Was so bad at this.
I knew I should have wrote that down. I'm not going to remember.
Oh, I can't remember now either.
Yeah, but anyways, I think that the kind of like the motivations behind everything are really interesting this season. And why is Skyler all of a sudden becoming so interested in this? And why is Hank, really kind of hiding now? It's like, what exactly is going on behind everybody's heads? Like, everybody is evolving into somebody new. And I think that's great. I think that's how a healthy show, continues, The Sopranos wouldn't be any great if Christopher Moltisanti just stayed the same character the whole time. Like he kind of is, but he tries to change. He tries to become somebody different. And I think that's a great, example of a character evolving but kind of staying the same, but also I don't know, it's a very interesting character. But yeah, I think
sorry, I just watched the episode where Chris well, I don't want to spoil the show on this show, but it happens in season 6 right at the end. But like I think okay. Chris is a character who
I love this as a visual medium for us. Yeah. Like we can sign language like stuff.
Sure. I think Chris is a character who tries to change, but it ultimately
right.
And it's very tragic.
Right.
Yeah. But we can talk about that some other time.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be a lot of fun. But for this show, I think this is definitely a top 3, top 5 episodes for me.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's incredibly good. I think an episode like this does, like The Sopranos, I think is a better show than Breaking Bad, but I feel like episodes like this do give The Sopranos a run for its money, just because the writing is so tight. Like I said, this could be a small, a short film, or you could make this an 1.5 hour long movie if you really wanted to flesh it out. I think you could definitely do that.
I always say that, but both shows, they're tough to compare. But I always say that Sopranos is, I like the characters in The Sopranos better, like in terms of just like I like spending time with them a little more. Whereas Breaking Bad, it's story, and it's the characters that you meet are incredibly interesting. Like in terms of just going from point A to Z. Like I think. I think they're just very different shows with very different sort of like targets. But anyway, man, like that's Half Measure. So next episode is titled Full Measure, and it's the last episode of this season. I want to get your predictions on what you think might happen to close out this season.
Man, I have no idea. I mean, I have no idea. Obviously, something's going to come to a head with Gus. But I just wonder, Walt, how many cards does Walt hold? Because it's like they can, even though Walt is just kind of like this master kind of cook, it's not like they don't have his recipe. It's not like they can't get somebody, to come and do it. It's kind of like Walt is kind of irrelevant at this point because.
What about Gale?
Yeah, Gale would probably be a person to come and like take over, or even somebody we don't know. I have no idea, but I feel like Gus has a black book full of people that, hey, this is what everything, and it might be a little bit inferior. It wouldn't be as good as Walt's, but it wouldn't really matter. And like the headache is not worth the trouble anymore for Gus, So I definitely feel like there's going to be some big repercussions for this, and for Jesse and for Walt, because they're both playing a part in this double murder, and seeing kind of like the effect that it has on Andrea and obviously Skyler and everything, and like what kind of card does Walt have in his pocket to try and fiddle his way like out of this is what I'm kind of curious, because obviously the show goes for 2 more seasons. I know he doesn't die, so it's like how does Walt, it's kind of like the Dukes of Hazzard when they're jumping the fucking general. How do they get out of this thing? It's
you're a racist.
Yeah. I am curious. Yeah. How they are going to get out of this. And I don't know, predictions. That's about as far as I'll go, because I don't really have as much information as I'd like, but I do feel like for the main plot, there's definitely going to be some retaliation for that. And I feel like they're just going to be looking for somebody to replace him.
I like where you had that, man. I like it a lot. I like your theorizing. I'm sure the listeners do as well, because they're probably having a lot of fun with you. Just like kind of like.
I'm just going to say that probably Gale replaces him. That's what it's sounding like.
Well, I mean, cannot confirm or deny.
I'm watching that episode right now while we're finishing this up. Keep talking. No,
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you to watch it.
Nice. I'll probably watch it tonight.
Yeah, watch it tonight. And we'll talk about scheduling the last episode. But for sure. All right, guys. Well, that's it. That's Half Measures. That's the second last of this season of Breaking Bad, a Bad Crystal podcast. Oh, fuck! I fucked that up, didn't I? Brad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast. We will see you guys next fortnight to cover the finale of this season. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.